Bam! It's Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland. That's me. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the Fanatical Elves Network, part of Fans First Sports Network. It is a Tuesday morning, June 18th. Love having you aboard. Thanks for following us here on the Fanatical Elves. Waking up here with the coffee. Got to get a jolt to that. Man, it's summertime. But if you are a Browns fan, the news never stops. And that's what we're here for. Try to provide you some updates on things that are going around Browns news. And gosh, there's a lot still. It's supposed to be kind of mellow and not doing a lot, but there's some news out there. So first off, Hard Knocks. Yeah, the Hard Knocks series from HBO. They are coming back to follow the Brownies along with the AFC North. Some people, I don't know if people understand this program this time. It's an additional series on HBO that's different from the ones that the Browns have been part of in the past. I think back in 2018, they had the group come out and follow the team, Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, all of that, and they did that the whole preseason. They're not doing it that way with the Brownies and the rest of the AFC North. They're going to follow them sort of the latter half of the season, start broadcasting these episodes in December. I think December 3rd. Should be very interesting because I think they anticipate the NFL that all four teams in the league, including the Brownies, will all be in contention for playoffs and postseason bids. And so it'll be fun. It's a lot of it'll be neat to see how that all works out. I know they were showing some highlights on the X and different social media platforms yesterday of the original one that came out back in 2018 when like Nick Chubb showed up at the airport and no one knew who Nick Chubb was back then. We all know who Nick Chubb is now, just the heart and soul of the Cleveland Browns. Thanks again for following us here on the Fanatical Elves, part of Fans First Sports. You can always download us on Apple, on Spotify. Just hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and we'd love to have you come aboard. I'm broadcasting from our studio here, office space in the front of our home, and it is the daylight today, so I'm not using all the lights here, but hopefully you can see me just fine. So Hard Knocks again is coming back. It'll be cool to see how that all plays out. The other big news that's been going on for a while now, and it's kind of getting a little bit more buzz again, is Amari Cooper. Now, Amari Cooper did not show up, the wide receiver for the Cleveland Brownies, the best wide receiver the Browns have had in a bazillion years. He didn't show up to minicamp. He wants a new contract or an extension. Let me pause for my coffee. I got to wake up still. Good stuff. So Amari's trying to negotiate, or his agents are. From what people are saying in the news, the latest news, Brad Stanbrook, who writes for a variety of periodicals, very solid guy, knows his stuff. He was reporting that the sticky point, again, is not just the money, but it's the years. Supposedly, according to Brad's folks that he's talking to, the Browns are only offering Coop 1 year of an extension. And they're giving him more money in that 1 year, but not anything beyond the 1 year. And that would mean that Cooper would have to, come back for a year and then renegotiate again. If he has a crappy year, then the Browns could release him. I think this is terrible on the Browns' part if this is actually accurate. I know Cooper is turning, I think today is his birthday. So happy birthday. I think today is Cooper's birthday. So again, happy birthday to you, Coop. But this is a bad move if the Browns are settling on 1 year. Cooper has done so much for this team over just the 2 years that we got him from Dallas. And he's had career stats, more touchdowns, more receiving yards. He had so many great games. He's even had a good game when P.J. Walker was quarterback. He's had 5 games over 100 yards catching this last year when he was throwing the ball around with Deshaun Watson. He had that 265-yard game against Houston where they dominated that game of the regular season. Too bad that didn't happen in the postseason. But again, Amari Cooper is the best wide receiver the Browns have had in decades. And for the Browns, just if it is true that they're just offering him in 1 year, that's just dumb. And I would hope that's not true. Unfortunately, it could be. Now, the other news, let's pause for a commercial break here. We'll bring up some more news about Amari Cooper. If you had listened to Lou Marconi in the Burning River Browns talk, he talked about this other news as well. But we'll be right back here on the Fanatical Elves Network, part of Fans First Sports Network. And we're back. How do you like that commercial or those commercials? Okay, so Lou Marconi talked about this. It's also been in the news since yesterday, and there was an article in Sports Illustrated, Browns Digest, which is pretty, responsible source to get information from, for the most part. They were throwing out the idea that there's and this starts from a rumor that was listed on the X on Twitter, NFL notifications. Now, maybe you follow them on your Twitter feed, NFL notifications. I think I do as well. I think they have 40 or 50,000 followers, which is a good solid mark. We're not quite there here at the Fanatical Elves. By the way, we're 2,200 plus followers here on the Fanatical Elves. Thanks to you guys who are loyal and spread the love, man. Spread the word of our podcasting. We love it, and we're growing by leaps and bounds. We just started this in 2023. You look around other podcasting platforms that have been around longer than us, and they're following maybe a little bit stronger than ours right now, but we're gaining on them because you're telling everybody about this great group of Browns fans, just like you. So the rumor is, this article with Sports Illustrated is that the Browns and the San Francisco 49ers are looking at a trade of Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk, a very good, solid, younger wide receiver for the 49ers, might be the odd man out there in San Francisco. And in a stunning move, they're suggesting, this NFL notifications, which then Sports Illustrated reported on, is saying they're hearing from their people, who knows who their people are, that maybe the Browns are actively engaged in a trade of Brandon Ayuk for Amari Cooper. It's not the most wildest out of this realm of possibilities. I mean, if I would not be dead set against it, like I think Lou talked about this, just for the simple fact that Brandon Ayuk is 26 years old and Amari Cooper is 30. So you've got 4 years of less playing time, and Ayuk is a very fine wide receiver. Let me pause for my coffee. It is Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland. Just remember that. I gotta wake up here. So that's the big news. That's the big trade. I mean, that would be huge. That would be, if that does happen, which right now it's just a big, big, big rumor, that would capture a lot of people's interest. Certainly have us all talking about all of this going into the season. I would rather keep Coop. I think Coop is a very important member of this team. He's soft-spoken, doesn't say a lot from what people say. Reminds us a lot of Nick Chubb, and he just goes about his business and does his thing. He's an amazing wide receiver, can catch about anything that comes to him. So we'll see. If the Browns are hung up on just giving him a year, I think they're foolish. He's a veteran. He's 30 years old. I think you give him his due diligence. I think you give him respect. I think you do what you need to do. And the Browns are resisting that for some reason that we don't know. I'd love to know what it is, because he is in a very important part to this team. With that said, if this Brandon Ayuk situation is real, that would be an intriguing scenario. All right, last bit of news here continues to be the stadium, the Dome Stadium potential in Brook Park, just down the road from downtown Cleveland, right next to the airport. If you know that area, it's right off of 71, off the Snow exit, which my grandparents used to live in a retirement complex down there off of Snow Road near the old Ford plant, which is right across the street from Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. So the folks there in Brook Park continue to be very supportive on trying to bring the Browns and their new stadium to that location. And there was a good article written about a week ago in Cleveland.com by Maura Zurich of Cleveland.com. And she interviewed several of the Brook Park councilmen, or someone did. And they just talked a lot about, just really wanting the team to come to Brook Park and everything that they would do, and how it's an excellent location. You really have to think, if you're familiar with the area, it would be ideal. You have RTA, you have the trams, the trains that run right through there. I mean, I get off there on the 150 exit there, where they're, what is it called? It's just up the road from Snow Road. But having the RTA there, having the airport right there, having all the highways overlap right there. You got I-71, you got 271 just a little bit further from there. You've got I-80, you've got the turnpike just up the street. So it would be ideal. And I think the Browns are seriously considering it. It looks like everybody you listen to a good podcast as well. I want to give a shout out to another group of podcasters, the Dogs. They don't follow us yet, but if you listen to our podcast, we'd love for you to follow us. We follow you guys because we think you do a really good job, and you've got a loyal supporting group of Browns fans as well. So if you listen to the Dogs routinely, tell them about the Fanatical L's and have them give us a shout, give us a follow. We would love that. But they were talking about that as well, with the whole stadium and the possibility of things happening here in Brook Park. So those are the big headlines for today, Tuesday, June 18th. We really, again, love having you come over, listen to us. We put out some information. We've been talking a little bit about the Browns and their upcoming games this season. I know Lou Marconi's doing a little article once in a while on the opponents, from the Cowboys in week 1 to the New York Giants in week 3. I think he's almost halfway through the season now with his articles for the Fans First Sports Network, which is great. We did talk a little bit last night about the Dallas Cowboys in week 1 behind the Browns' enemy lines, looked at that a little bit. So tune into that episode on Apple, on Spotify. It's right there with the Fanatical L's Network, give you a little breakdown of the Brownies. It's a audio exclusive podcast, so please tune into that and listen to our take on how that looks for the Browns as they prepare for that big game in week 1. Today, I rolled out some photo of the old Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll have a little bit more about that with the Browns behind enemy lines probably next week on that game coming up in week 2 when the Browns travel to Florida. Interestingly, this caught my attention. The Jags hold a 12-7 season series record against the Brownies dating back to 1995. And Jacksonville, who was, a brand new team in 95, they actually beat the Browns the first 6 times while they were a team. Now, obviously 95 was the last year where the Browns were playing, and then they had that lull where they didn't have a team, and then they came back in 99. So, Jacksonville obviously had a better team at that point, was able to roll off some wins. So it makes some sense. Now the Browns have won the last 2 games going back to 2020. And then last year they beat Trevor Lawrence in 2023 here at Cleveland Brown Stadium. That's going to happen again. Geez, can you believe Jacksonville paying that guy $55 million, man, per year? Just crazy stuff. And he has a 20-30 record overall in his career. So they're just throwing out money here in the NFL. All right, folks. Hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday, June 18th. We'll be back tomorrow with a little bit more Coffee Jolt with Johnny Cleveland. Go Brownies. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. See ya.